But they put it back up, didn't they? I hope. I really appreciate your comments, too. I really appreciate your comments.
Mention it to Mr. Ferry.
No, I mean, that's what we need is a discussion, and that's what we had tonight, so that's good. So I appreciate it. It's not okay, yeah, that's good. I'm glad.
One email.
Oh,
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you for doing so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of town government.
Right. Everybody gets a say, so we appreciate you coming down.
Have a good night.
Okay, let's get back to business here. There's two other items we have on here. Small discussion regarding the harbor master. I met with the harbor master and with the our chief of police, Robert McDonald, and the three of us had a discussion. And right now, the harbor master reports to the selectmen, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's really a law enforcement type thing. So we all agreed that the harbor master, or we recommend that the harbor master report to the chief of police. And a couple other things, we recommended that anytime the harbor master leaves the dock with the boat, that he contacts dispatch to tell them, and anytime he makes a stop in the river, that he calls and lets them know. So if there's any incidents out there, they'll be ready to provide backup if necessary. So I'm going to step down and make a motion. Or maybe I should. Okay.
Well, we can do that in the discussion
Yeah,
period.
let me finish,
motion
let's get the
first.
motion and then we'll, okay. Do you want to anybody want to make a motion? I probably shouldn't because I was,
So is it, you want a motion that would pretty much cover what you said, that the harbor master will now
Under the police.
be under the police
Report to the-
chief?
yes.
And that the harbor masters should notify the dispatch center when the boat is leaving the dock for any reason, and if they have an incident, they should report that also. Is that what you want?
Yeah, well, I think maybe we just need a motion that they report to the police chief because that
Oh,
would be,
all right.
that would be a procedure that,
All right.
that the chief would put in place.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the harbor master be advised that he now is to report to the police chief
Okay. I have a motion. Do I
and not
have
the
a-
Board of Selectmen.
Do I have a second?
I will second that, Mr. Chairman.
Further discussion? Mr. Rhines?
Please introduce yourself.
Tim Ryan's 316 Main Street. I have a few questions in regards to that. Number one, are any of these three gentlemen trained in CPR and first aid? Because if there is a situation on the river, they're not trained. This is something that needs to be brought up.
No,
It's true.
Let me just say this. No, they're not. But there is some standards of harbor master training that the chief and I have looked at, and we're going to pursue that to get them properly trained.
And
There
that's
should be
part
an
of-
AED piece of equipment on that boat in case someone has a heart attack. They should be properly trained in that. My own opinion is that the town needs to revert and go right back and purchase a boat for the fire department. They have quicker access to get to the river if that boat is on a trailer located at the fire station. They back the truck up, it's hooked on, they get permission either from the Taunton Yacht Club or the Shaw's Yacht Club to launch that boat there at all times, and they have faster access to the river. My third point I'm gonna make is that I don't believe that any of those no-wake cans are registered with the Coast Guard.
Any of the what?
Any of the no-wake buoy cans that are out there must be registered with the United States Coast Guard. If they are not, if a boat owner goes out there and runs to one of those cans, the town of Dayton is gonna be liable. These are some issues that need to be taken care of.
Well,
I have watched these gentlemen, I have given pictures, okay, submitted to the Board of Selectmen. I'd like to see action made on
let's
that.
back
leading
up.
And let me ask
Mr.
you one
Ryan,
question.
just a minute. Wait, that's not you can bring that up in a minute. The topic, the issue on the table now is the harbor master reporting to the chief of police. On public input, you can address those issues if you like.
Understood.
But
That's what I'm gonna make, is there any
Tim,
agreement,
let's,
like mutual aid.
Do you object to the motion that I made?
No, I do not.
okay, then
All right.
let's get that out of the way.
So
Okay,
we need to act
Okay,
on
we
it.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
you'll have to excuse me.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 And thirdly, I would like to ask if the Dayton Harbor Master has a mutual aid agreement with the town of Somerset to go in their jurisdiction or the town of Berkeley in response to a situation that happens on a river. Because if Dayton were to respond to a situation on a river in Somerset, and there is no mutual aid, the town of Dayton could be held liable. These are issues that need to be addressed.
Let me say
This
this.
has been going on for 20 years. Mr. Ben Shaw, who was our harbor master, going back and did that job for 40 to 50 years, never had a problem on the river. He does not, if I understand, I have friends who are on the river, there are boaters that are out there. He stops them, he doesn't present himself in a professional manner. These are issues
Wait a
that
minute,
need
we're
to
getting
be
into
addressed by
personal,
the
no, no,
board.
wait
No.
a minute. You can't get into personal comments like that. That's a violation
out of
of
order.
the law, yeah. You can't get
So
into that.
let me just address,
Why would it be a violation of the law? There's not a violation. That's
Mr.
my,
Rhines,
that's my own
Mr.
First Amendment right
Mr.
to
Rhines,
Tim,
you have to stop
please,
or you have to
please.
leave. Now, let me say what I'm gonna say. The issues that, with the harbor master, there are not a lot of processes and procedures in place. There haven't been, as you said, probably for 20 years. We are addressing the issues, and we will continue to address the issues. It can't be fixed overnight. Our first step is to put the harbor master under the chief of police, so we have some structure and some reporting. And that is now, we agreed to that, that's gonna happen. Other issues are training, procedures for stopping boats or whatever, and we're addressing those. And we'll continue to address those. If people have complaints of anything on the river, they're welcome to come to the Board of Selectmen, or in this case now the Chief of Police, and file a complaint or a statement. But, and then we'll deal with it. But that's all we can do.
And I just wanted to, you have every right to give your opinion. That's not what the chairman was saying.
No.
This board cannot respond without the person in question being here to personal things like that. That's all I think we were all
The rules of
saying.
lawyers, it's
He
hearsay,
deserve-
it's hearsay.
The
Understood.
individual in question, yes, deserves to be able to respond. That's all.
No, understood.
I will say that the town of Dayton has mutual aid agreements with almost every community around here. I mean, we even have Fall River show up for a fire, or if they want our ladder truck, or they want something. Our public safety personnel, that means the ones that come under the police and fire departments, and certainly the harbor master and his assistants, they're all under the mutual aid agreements that this town has had many years, many years. There are agreements for mutual aid.
That's on land. On water's a different,
Well, we'll look,
No.
in- we'll look,
Different
we'll look,
situation.
Yeah.
we'll look into it to make sure it's all covered.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot to be looked at, and we're looking at it. It's not a dead issue, and, you know. you
No,
can't-
understood.
You
No,
can't
no.
fix things overnight.
I understand that. I'm just, was voicing my opinion, that's all, and if it was,
could I just ask you, and this was, you said you were concerned about, make sure there's proper training, CPR, defibrillator, then you mentioned something else. What was the next one? After, you know,
that would be, I think that the fire department should have their own boat.
oh, a fire department boat, okay. I'm
Because-
just trying to write some notes
Because there was
here.
a situation that did arise that was corrected, where there was no key at the location where there was
But
something.
that's been resolved.
That's been resolved, that
Been
issue's been
resolved.
resolved. Well, my thing with that is that there'd be more and quicker response time with the fire department as opposed to, where's your harbor master? He could,
Well,
the gentleman could be out working in a job, or the other gentleman could be working, or the third gentleman may be out of town.
As
So
of-
if all
as
three
of-
are out of town, then it's a problem.
As of yesterday, the fire department has a key to the boat, the police department has a key to the boat, we have a key to the boat here. So that will not be a problem. If somebody needs to use that boat, it's a town boat. If a fire or police need to use it for emergency.
Can I ask one question about that, though? And I'm not asking it to be like the naysayer of the board, but if the fire department needs to use the boat, or the police department needs the boat, and the boat is docked on his personal property, how does that work?
We'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
That's-
problem.
I'm glad that
That's
that
a
issue
big
was brought
problem.
up, because that issue also, what I believe is that our highway department should not be going on private property putting in his own private docks that house a town boat and his own personal boat. The question is, in regards to that, is that whose insurance is gonna pay for if that boat burns on that dock or burns on his personal boat?
And we don't have answers to those questions, and
No, I'm just putting this out there so the general public knows this is not an attack on anyone. I want that to be known. These are just questions that should be asked.
Yep.
Okay.
And the
My
general
tax dollars as well as yours
Absolutely.
could pay for something that you don't want to happen.
And just so the general public understands, we are aware that these are the open-ended questions that need to be addressed and
And
answered.
we are addressing them, and we'll continue.
I thank you for your time. I was probably just a little fired up from everybody else in the crowd. Was fired up,
The energy.
So it carried over, and I absorbed that, so.
Well, at least we know you don't live on a dirt road.
Yeah, right.
You and Mr. Ferry. We're not gonna let you sit together
From what I
anymore.
understand, it will be shortly, though.
Oh, Mr. Ferry's gonna take care of it. He's gonna put you on a dirt road.
We got land problems, we got water problems.
Main Street in here.
Okay, can we move on?
Mr.
I
Commissioner.
just want to
Just a
say,
little levity there.
on a positive note, as a ranking member of public safety, I think this was a very smart move by the board. I always felt that harbor master should fall under the auspices of the police department, so I'm glad you made that move.
And I wanted to
Do we-
thank
we
you
need-
for
we need-
asking the tough questions.
We need to take a vote on that motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
So you got us off track, Mr. Rhines.
You got us riled up. Okay, the next item of business, we're all over the place on this stuff, but
We have,
we have a letter from the superintendent.
that's correct.
We met with the school committee and the superintendent, Dr. Azar, back in back on June 13th. In the discussion, one of the discussion points was that planning for the future with the schools. And as most people know, the situation at our elementary school is probably the most pressing one in that they're quickly outgrowing the school. Now, their feeling is that they're going to be fine for a couple more years, but then we're going to need to address something. So one of the things I had said previously, and we want to start planning ahead, 5 and 10 years out. So anyways, so Dr. Azar sent us a letter concerning the formation of a Town of Dayton Building Committee to study the needs of both Dayton elementary schools, Dayton schools' building capacities. So we are going to make a motion here tonight, I guess, to establish such a committee that will work with the school district to kind of make some projections.
May I make a statement before we do anything? So, one thing is, this would be a building, if it were approved and created, it would be a building study committee. So that is to say, the folks on the committee would study what was needed for the schools. And the hope would be that this would be fact-based, analytic-based, based on, hard data, population data. I've spoken informally to the building commissioner, who, of course, has offered to help us comprise some population statistics that we received from SERPID with permit data, just so to have an accurate projection and prediction of what the population will be like, years into the future, so that when the committee is coming to their determination on what the school actually needs, it will be based on actual numbers and not just what people think we might need. So I think that's important that people understand what the committee will do.
And the offshoot of that too is it will study the needs of schools, but really the main thing that it'll do is we'll create some population projections and look at not only schools, but look at the infrastructure of our town, because we're growing rapidly, and you don't always want to be playing catch-up, If we know we're going to expand at a certain rate, then we need to start putting the infrastructure in place so that we're ready to handle that and not have to play catch-up all the time.
And it is also, most of the time, and I know you know this, you're a business owner as well, it is cheaper to plan ahead than it is to react to circumstances in real time once they are upon you. So I commend everybody involved, and we were there when they agreed to do this, the school committee, everyone involved for taking this approach to it, taking a data-based approach to solving the potential issues in terms of population in the schools.
That's a scientist in him. Okay. So I guess,
I'll make, are you entertaining motions, Mr. Chairman?
Wait a minute. This letter doesn't make sense. If I'd seen it, I'd have marked it up, but I'm doing it now.
It's the grammar. Where's her red pen?
First of all, he's asking for is feasibility, if we should, a feasibility study on whether we should create the committee. If he's looking for a building study committee, you don't do a feasibility to see if you should do
I don't
that.
think that's
I
the
can
intent.
vouch for the feasibility part.
Yeah, I don't question that. I don't question that, Jim. I'm trying to read this to
Once
make a
the
motion that's gonna make
Once the
sense.
study committee's formed, they do the feasibility work.
The intent of the letter is to establish a committee, a building committee that will work with the
study-
school, a study committee that
yeah.
will work with the schools
Correct.
to make some projections and look at what we need in the future. And I'm going to add into that we include infrastructure in that.
Absolutely.
And I agree with all of that. That's why I'm writing this, so that when this motion is made, it makes sense.
Well, let's keep it simple.
School Building Study Committee. Oh, it not only will make sense, it will be simple. I've served on enough of these to know that in the background. Mr. Chairman, I will move that the town of Dayton support the establishment of, support appointing a school building study committee to determine the needs of the Dayton Elementary and Middle School as recommended, as requested by the Superintendent of Schools and the DR School Committee.
Happily second, Mr. Chairman.
I would only like to add that we include in that to also look at the infrastructure, the rest of the infrastructure for Dayton.
Not what a school building committee study committee does.
Then let's change it to something different.
But
Because we
we
can't-
gotta give them what they're asking for.
It'll include what they're asking for, and just add another dimension to it. Because what,
That's not what a school building study committee does.
let's call it something different.
That's not what they're asking for. That's why I went through this. Because they were asking for a town of Dayton building committee to study the needs of the schools. No, that's
My
not
rec-
what
My
they did.
recommendation would be that we take the letter that he's asking. We don't have to agree to do what he's asking, but I would hope we would incorporate in any study committee that we have, we would include schools in it. I would just expand it so we also include infrastructure.
Department of Ed will never allow that. You've gotta follow the way the state sets up these things. The first step is, if you're gonna talk about schools, then you talk about a school building study committee or a school building needs study committee. Because that's the group that looks at everything, and eventually, if they're gonna bring a proposal to the town, and if the town approves it, they become the building committee. Now, they can ask other committees in town to provide them with info, like the capital planning committee. Mr. Rendon chairs that, and he could certainly tell them about things like that. But this is specifically schools, so you don't wanna talk about, I don't know. If we-
Do you mean school infrastructure? Like, you don't mean
No, I
that
mean
this committee
town-
would be looking at the
Town
town hall?
He's talking
Yes.
about town infrastructure.
Yeah. Because we're going to look, I mean, the same data would go into an analysis of schools and infrastructure.
But I have to, but this is just a school building study committee. Now, if we want to form a separate committee in general that just looks at what the town needs, I think that's different. But this is, I don't understand why we would, no offense to anybody watching who may be on this committee, but why would we allow people intimately familiar with the schools to be studying stuff outside of that? I don't understand that.
No, the school would, no, that would not be my intent. We'll make a motion.
I thought they were just gonna study the school infrastructure. I'm okay with that, because that falls under the needs of the schools. So I guess I was unclear on that.
I will make a motion, if I had another motion out there, I've withdrawn that, I'll start again. I will make a motion that the board accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the DR school committee that the town appoint a school Building Study Committee to determine the needs of the Dayton Elementary and Middle Schools.
I will second that.
And that will include everything, the building, the estimated population of the school, the land it sits on, whether or not there's enough room, everything related to those two school buildings.
Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
Yeah, we have a
There's a
motion.
motion. You seconded it?
Seconded it.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Any announcements? If not? Any correspondence?
There were a few announcements.
Announcements are just like on the,
Barry,
We'll get to you in a minute.
for a quiet person,
Mr.
you
Barry,
made a lot of progress.
what do you have to announce? Go ahead. I recognize you.
I have an announcement to make.
I wasn't here for the early part of the public input,
Okay.
but just wanted to make a comment on Horton Street.
Wharton, okay, yep.
Obviously, today's weather is going to impact that. We've been dealing with water and pumps to get most of the job done. The new structure's in, backfill, did the base coat of the asphalt on it. Half the head walls are done today. Right now, there's so much water now, it's overwhelming the pump, so there's no way we're gonna keep up. And
Yeah.
plus, tomorrow, we need, tomorrow, to do the storm, townwide cleanup from today's wind.
Right.
So, it's a good chance it's not gonna be open this week as anticipated.
Okay.
If they get the crew, finish the town and get the other head walls finished Friday and Saturday, possible if they're willing, it could happen, but, this rain event really pushes us over.
Okay, yeah, you
There's
gotta,
more rain coming, so.
well, you gotta do what you gotta do, so.
That's
Appreciate your work,
what's going
Dan.
on. It's almost done, if we can just get the water out of the way.
Right.
Is the flow of water from the heavy rain causing any problems, or can the culvert handle the extra flow because of the heavy rains?
This culvert
The
can.
can handle the flow, it's the head walls we need to protect it, the integrity long-term.
Right.
And it's not
You
finished.
can't get at them because of the
Right.
rain, okay?
And if we open the road and then go
Oh, I agree.
and address the head walls in the future, in the near future, we'd be closing it, and that erratic opening and closing is gonna interfere with people's travel too.
Okay.
So we're probably better off just leaving it closed until we get that head wall finished.
One other question, I know we had some wind damage, limbs and stuff. Was there any flooding, street flooding that had to be,
It's very temporary.
oh, it was fast and gone?
It was bad though for that,
Most of
that
the
time.
damage- Yeah, most of the damage is north Dayton. There was, at least one town mature tree on Lincoln Ave, the rest is just wind damage. And town-wide, it's just wind damage. It seems to be just concentrated right now, not far from Brett's house.
But you, my neighbor.
The damage was pretty significant in town.
Yeah.
We really go well up again.
Yeah, there was.
You know, it brought back memories of the 2010 storm
Right.
that ruined roofs and everything else.
Yeah, we had some hail today.
Oh, yeah, we had some good hail,
Yeah, we heard
right?
hail when we were
I
here.
thought it was gonna crash through my windshield, and there was
Do
a.
you have any questions on that?
No.
If not,
No.
I'll leave your questions.
You don't have
We
to.
welcome that.
We welcome.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a good night.
For a quiet person, Tom, you really have some provocative issues.
Before you leave, I just wanted to thank you and the highway department and you, Mr. Commissioner, as well, because you were a big proponent for changing out the light bulbs with the energy efficient bulbs. We really appreciate that. You're awesome. And thank you both very much. Very, very much. Thank you.
Thanks,
You
Tom.
too.
Thank you, Tom.
Let's do announcements.
You got any gusto left? After this meeting? It's a long one. Okay. Trash bags, sharps disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Please call 508-669-6431 for more information. And there were some concerned parties regarding the trash bags. I believe we have the new trash bags with the drawstrings now. So for those folks who didn't like the old trash bags, we have the new ones. There are vacancies on the Historical Commission, the Land Use Committee, and the Capital Outlay Committee. Also, the Community Preservation Committee has an opening for a Historical Commission representative and a possible opening for an at-large member. The Board of Selectmen is now on their summer meeting schedule. Our normal meeting schedule will resume on September 6th, 2017. So starting that Wednesday, we will resume our weekly
Although
meeting
we've been having a
schedule.
weekly meeting since we started.
Correct, so.
Oh, we'll skip next Wednesday
We
night.
won't be meeting next week,
Okay, thank you.
not next week.
The Dayton Lions Club Food Bank distribution does have new hours. Going forward, the hours will be 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. The next distribution will be July 22nd. There will be a town auction held at Town Hall on Tuesday, July 18th at 12 noon for town-owned properties, which will include Van Geysen Hall. For more information on the properties, please go to www.zicosgroup.com. All of these events are on our events calendar on our website with information and contact information if you do have any questions.
Okay, we have any reports? Nope, okay. Any acknowledgements? I don't think so.
Yeah, on the next page.
Oh, yes, we want to acknowledge the Borges Brothers Trucking Incorporated. They've been the town's trash and recycling hauler since June of 1977. So that's 40 years they've done that for us. And we appreciate all that you do, and we hope we'll have another 40 years doing the same thing. I
I'm
don't
sure-
think, we won't be here.
I'm sure Peter's saying, I intend
Hey, I
to
might be
retire
here."
before then.
But-
Thank you,
but
Peter.
Thank you very much. Okay, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the following minutes be approved. Regular meeting, May 10th. Regular meeting, May 17th. Regular meeting, May 24th. Regular meeting, May 31st. Special meeting, June 14th, 2017. These interviews with the consulting agencies for the town administrator, and the special selectmen's meeting of June 21st. All 2017.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, approval of warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 2A-18 in the amount of $83,034.77 payroll. Warrant 2B-18 in the amount of $48,034.28. Warrant 2C-18 in the amount of $173,161.16. Those are all dated, those are accounts payable, the last two, and they're, all three were dated July the 12th. Warrant 54A-17 in the amount of $2,207.39, and warrant 54B-17 in the amount of $79,640.08, the last two being dated June 30th, that's the previous fiscal year, all be accepted, all be approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Before we go, I just wanted to say one thing. I know you say every week, you're probably sick of saying it. I'm surprised you didn't say it tonight. You urge people to come to the meetings.
Right.
I hope everybody watches this and understands that what happened tonight is what happens when you come to meetings and you let us know what you really think about issues. You know, we listen, so.
We appreciate people coming down for
Absolutely.
that.
Mr.
Any further
Commissioner?
public input?
You're welcome to come to if we
I'm
do
sorry,
something that you like, and you appreciate, or you want to thank somebody in town for something. It doesn't have to be a controversial topic.
Public
You're
input?
welcome to come.
No? Okay. If none, long meeting.
Are you accepting motions?
I
Motion
am.
to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
9:30. Second, yeah, I second it, yeah. Aye,
We said aye.
whatever.
Aye, me.
You, they.
You, them.
You guys handle that like champions, I have to say. That started off a little